Welcome to Bedtime Stories. The Inspiring Tree. Once upon a time a young couple gave birth to a son. The boy had dazzling dark eyes, a beautiful smile and dark, wavy hair. His mother and father loved the way he giggled, the way he wept, the way he gurgled. At night they stood beside his crib, admiring him as he slept. They believed he was a remarkable child. As he grew older, he grew more remarkable still, but he was given to daydreaming and wondering and questioning. Sometimes he drove his parents to distraction with his willfulness, and some nights, when he would not sleep, he was busy watching the world outside and wondering what more was there to see. One day, after his mother had washed and cooked and cleaned, he demanded more food. "You've had enough," she said, but he would stamp his feet and get stubborn. When his mother looked at him, she saw not a remarkable baby but an angry, furious child. When his father returned, his mother called her husband aside. "Do you see a difference in our boy?" she asked fearfully. When his father looked at him, the boy frowned and sneered. The next day was no better. Suddenly this boy they believed was the most marvelous child in the world had turned into something altogether different. He was always hungry, angry, forever demanding, brimming with ill feel and negative vibes. His mother wondered how she could go on living in the house with such a nasty child. "He's not our earlier son," she whispered to her husband. "He's turned into some kind of monster." His father began to notice changes, too. When he tried to play with his son, he ignored him, and when he asked the boy what was wrong, he would turn away and make excuses. "He no longer loves us," the boy's father said, and he would just stared at his parents with such piercing dark eyes, they felt afraid and scared. "We have to get away from him," his mother whispered. "It would be better if he were not living with us anymore." The very next day his father took him into the forest, and there he left the boy. At first he was terrified, but the music of the wind rustling in the leaves and the dazzle of the stars overhead calmed his fears. Before long he walked into the forest. He came to discovered a small, peculiar hut, where a hermit had habitat. Seeing the boy weeping and crying, he held him to the hut and handed him out a huge seed. It was furry and the color of pomegranates. He asked him to plant it. When he lay down to sleep that night, he rested his hand upon the place he had planted the seed, and at dawn, to his amazement, he felt a nudge beneath his hand. The hermit now asked him to water the plant and watch him grow. Within days a tree sprouted in that very spot. That night he gave the boy some fertilizer to pour onto the tree, and the next morning the tree had sprouted fruits and nuts. He asked the boy to eat to his heart's content. That night when he lay down to sleep, the hermit asked the boy to sing a song to the tree and ask whatever he could demand for. He sang for his tree to grow thick branches and leaves to shelter him in this forbidding place. And the tree grew thick, leafy branches that arched over the boy. No matter the weather, he was safe and warm and dry. Then one night when missing his father and mother, he fell asleep with tears in his eyes and another song to sing. This time he sang for his mother's voice to comfort him, and when the wind began to blow, the tree sang to him in his mother's sweet voice. He slept in peace, and when he wept for his father, the tree grew a branch that bent before him just like his father knelt, and when he sat upon that branch, he felt safe and happy like sitting on his father's lap. The boy then understood that getting angry and demanding has and will hurt his parents' feelings all the time, and so this time he begged and sang to the tree, "To bring my parents back to me." Back home, the boy's parents' hearts were nearly bursting with misery. "We were wrong," they confessed, and set off into the forest to find him. "What were we thinking about our child?" they cried sorrowfully, and then suddenly they heard laughter, and they followed the sound to the tree. The laughter came from the highest branches, and when they looked up, there sat their son smiling and with full of life. When he saw his parents, he called to the tree to lower him. The tree bent forward and gently placed him upon the ground before his mother and father. When they looked at him, they saw the boy had completely changed. They saw that he was so precious and with full of understanding. They held him close and kissed his cheeks. "Come home with us," they begged. He looked up at the tree, he leaned and beamed. "Honor our reunion," he said, and the tree shivered and swayed, her creamy blossoms scattered everywhere in celebration. The boy returned home, and everyone offered love and forgiveness. And after that day, whenever he seemed different to his parents, or difficult, he would walk to the forest and looked up at the inspiring tree that had protected and cured him. He asked the tree for help to mend his hearts. He asked the tree to open his eyes and show him the right path. And always the inspiring tree reminded him of who he truly was. He was a remarkable, marvelous child. If you like the story, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you for listening. Good night.